Welcome into Skap Live, yet another special edition, a special day and time of Skap Live. Welcome to the lounge, guys. It's been a while since I've gotten on here, and I just wanted to come on and talk some junk about basketball, maybe some other sports. Potentially, we can get into some NFL stuff, depending on how this show goes and how time is looking, time permitting, as they say. But welcome into you guys. Thanks for being here. I saw over the weekend some Kevin Durant news percolating around. So I was going to do a video on it this morning. Instead, I decided I would just pop on and have a larger discussion about it on here. One of the things really that precipitated this and got us to this point of this breaking Kevin Durant news, if you will. I don't know if it's breaking. He's been doing this kind of stuff for years. Kevin Durant is the most thin-skinned all-time great, probably. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say because he shares an era with LeBron James, so it's difficult to make that kind of assertion that Kevin Durant is in fact the most thin-skinned all-time great, because LeBron James is as thin-skinned as they come. But credit to LeBron, actually, he doesn't engage people as much as Kevin Durant does. Durant seemingly has made a career of engaging everybody with a Twitter handle, I guess, formerly Twitter, now X. He engages everybody, even people with like a couple hundred subscribers or followers, whatever the hell you call it on that platform. So Durant was at it again, mixing it up with the haters following the schedule release. There is a schedule leak. The Christmas Day slate was released, which I'm just going to flash up the Christmas Day games real quick. If you guys did not know, missed it, this is a kind of a juicy little 5-game slate. Cavs at Knicks, Spurs, moderator Gary, Spurs at Oklahoma City. We've also got, speaking of KD, LeBron, and Luka. Probably at the marquee spot of the day, I would imagine. We have Mavericks and Warriors as well that day. And then finally, the nightcap, the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. But in addition to that Christmas Day slate leaking, there was some news that broke of the opening slate as well. And the marquee, the showcase game on the opener, breaking news, is going to be the Rockets featured playing at Oklahoma City. So that is KD going to Oklahoma City on opening night. And any of you guys that follow the NBA, as you know, opening night in Oklahoma City will be their ring ceremony. So what they're going to do is probably unfoil the banner. They're going to then hand out rings to everybody that was on last year, which is basically the entire roster that was on the Thunder, that were on the Thunder that are going to be on the Thunder this season, were on that championship run a year ago. So it's essentially, there's really no differences. So every single guy basically will be getting a ring, and the Rockets, by extension, will be sitting there and watching the team receive their rings. And of course, as we know, Kevin Durant signed on with the Rockets in the offseason. So that is going to entail KD sitting and watching his former team, the team that drafted him into the NBA, the team in which he spent, about the first 9 years of his career ish. It looks like, yes, 9 full years of his career in Oklahoma City. He will be watching them get a ring, something he could not do. He could not deliver Oklahoma City with one, but Shea and co. Got them to the promised land last year. And KD was engaging with some Twitter trolls, I guess X trolls now. One of these, I don't even know who this Skied OKC is, probably has like 200 or 300 subs or followers, whatever we're calling it. KD, in response, says, finally, it's been 10 years. About time they win one. LMAO. So KD essentially kind of like an underhanded sort of not even a compliment, really. He's kind of just like poking fun at the fact that, oh, hey, I left about 10 years ago. It took this franchise 10 years to finally get over the hump and win something without me. But there's some problems with this, obviously. And we do have moderator Gary on board here, who is a preeminent and a prominent Kevin Durant apologist. So I just wanted to say hello to moderator Gary and welcome him into the conversation. What's up, Gary?
Yes, sir. I am a KD apologist when his ability, but not necessarily with some of the things that he says. I don't agree with everything he says. So you're not going to get a lot of pushback from me in regards to the things that he's saying. The things you'll get pushback from me are about his talent and ability. Like at times when you call him bum and say he's a choker, when I'm saying in 2012, I don't think that was a choke job. I think that was an inside job from the NBA that stole the championship from OKC. That's the pushback you get from me. But I know that he has some immature exchanges with people on Twitter and online from time to time.
So that was Gary. That sure, the 2012. We know your feelings you've made them. You've made those. We're well aware of the feelings that you have about the 2012 run and your take on that. But he was in Oklahoma City for 9 years. He's all NBA caliber, first team for several of those seasons, and he was playing with another all NBA caliber player in Russell Westbrook for the entirety. Of course, James Harden was still pretty young, and James Harden was really just the sixth man at the time that he was playing with Oklahoma City. And he left, in the middle of the KD Russ tenure there to go to Houston and do his own thing, obviously, there and become a perennial MVP candidate there and win a league MVP in Houston. But he played with Russ, who, again, perennial all-NBA caliber performer and a league MVP in his own right. He played with Russ for 9 years there. So yes, the 1 year, yes, Gary, was an inside job, as you would assert.
As we see now, Russ is not a championship. He's a dynamic player, but he's not. He doesn't have championship pedigree. That's the problem. That's why they didn't win as a duo. Harden absorbed Westbrook's mistakes in the fourth quarter. That's why they were such a great fit. And when Harden got traded, that was the beginning of the end of that OKC potential dynasty. They needed Harden because he often absorbed Westbrook's mistakes. When he was there, he could pick up on some of those mistakes Westbrook were always making. So they weren't nearly as good after Harden left. Russell Westbrook is dynamic. He's overrated, though. He's not a championship type player. KD, on the other hand, is, but obviously he can't win if a guy is sabotaging everything, and that's what Westbrook would do time after time.
They were the best team in the NBA in 2015-2016, a year in which the Golden State Warriors won 73 games, a year in which the Cleveland Cavaliers won the NBA championship. The Oklahoma City Thunder were the best team in the NBA. They had that team on the ropes. They were down 3. They were up 3-1.
What do you mean?
The 73-win Golden State Warriors. James Harden was long gone, and just
was not better than Golden State that year.
They were Gary. They were up 3-1, and they beat them by like 25 points in 2 of the first 4 games.
That would have been a major choke job if Golden State lost that. That's why they came back and won the series. Golden State won the series because they woke up.
No, they won the series because Kevin Durant choked his ass off, and so did Russell Westbrook. But for you to throw Russell Westbrook perpetually under the bus and say he's not championship caliber, it's his fault. Gary, Kevin Durant isn't a championship caliber player. What has he done outside of Golden State?
Well, if you look at 2012, what was he doing in 2012?
What has he done outside of Golden State? Gary, he has not won a single championship without Golden State. And since he left Golden State, he's been eliminated in the first round, swept in the first round 2 times. He has played 5 full seasons since leaving Golden State. He's been swept twice in the first round, so he didn't even win a single game in the playoffs twice. He missed the playoffs altogether once, and then he lost in the second round the other 2 times. That's what Kevin Durant has done since leaving Golden State, and he didn't win anything before. So you want to throw Russell Westbrook under the bus and say he's not championship caliber? Fine, but neither is Kevin Durant. He's a great individual talent, Gary. I'll give you that. But so is Russell Westbrook.
But Westbrook,
two great individual talents.
Westbrook specifically loses games. KD may not rise to the occasion and dominate the way he did before his injury. That has a big role in why he has not succeeded more since Golden State. But Westbrook was notoriously known for being a ball hog and for turning the ball over in crucial moments. KD wasn't doing that on a regular basis. That's what I'm getting at. It's one thing if you don't rise to the occasion. It's another thing if you hand it to the other team, and you can't coach Westbrook. I remember Maurice Cheeks, the assistant on OKC, saying something potentially critical to Westbrook, and Westbrook throwing a tantrum on the bench and storming to the locker room pouting because he was being coached. You can't coach Westbrook. You can at least coach KD. KD wasn't throwing the games himself. Westbrook would throw games away, and it's not even like this is a
Westbrook.
Like he was
Westbrook throwing games is an outrageous statement. Like
no. I mean losing. I don't
There's very few NBA players you can say throw a game. Like probably players that are being investigated for gambling. Russell Westbrook plays as hard as any player in the NBA.
I don't mean taking a dive. I don't mean cheating. I'm talking about like he did it with the Clippers in Game 6. He did. Well, what about Jokic's 60-point game this year? And the game was won for the Nuggets until Westbrook, 2 boneheaded back-to-back plays that enabled the Wolves to have a miracle and win. That's what Westbrook is notorious for in crucial moments. In Game 6 of round 1, the Nuggets were rallying back and about to come back and win that game until Westbrook had his boneheaded plays back-to-back and blew that potential there. It's a miracle they won Game 7, but it wasn't because of Westbrook. But I understand.
Kevin Durant is 38-10 with the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs. I believe he's under 500 in the postseason in 5 full years now since leaving Golden State. And it's not like he hasn't been on good teams. It's not like he hasn't been on teams that he's handpicked. And now he's on the 3rd team that he's handpicked, and it's the Houston Rockets. So we'll see what he does. I didn't intend to come on necessarily and destroy Kevin Durant, the player or whatever, but you just seem hell-bent on excusing things away and blaming Russell Westbrook. Like Kevin Durant shares in the blame of what happened in the tenure. Like Kevin Durant, the reason I wanted to talk about the tweet and the comments that Kevin Durant made is because he's not taking any accountability for the fact that he did have loaded teams there for 9 years. He won, he says, quote, "It's about time. It's been 10 years since I left. It's about time you win one, LMAO." How about you didn't win shit in 9 years, KD? Like you were there for 9 years with 2 former MVPs for half of the time, or 2 future soon-to-be MVPs for half of the time, and one MVP the whole time, and he didn't win anything. He went to the best team. He created the best team in the league at the time. I think the Cavs were the best team, but he trumped LeBron's super team card by creating an even bigger, more unbeatable super team and going to Golden State. He wins 2 there, and then since then, nothing. He hasn't even been out of the second round since then, like I just highlighted. He's been swept, not even a single. He's been swept twice in the first round and didn't make the playoffs one of the years. So that's 3 out of the 5 years since he's left Golden State. He hasn't won a single game in the postseason. Then he's lost in the second round in the other 2 times. So like for KD to be, championing himself and pumping himself up and pounding his chest against some guy with like 100 followers on X about like, "Oh, it's about time you won one without me because you were so much better off with me." Like it just looks ridiculous. It's just more outlandish antics by Kevin Durant, Gary. And I'm glad that we got on to the Golden State page because Speaking of outlandish antics, let's table that one. Speaking of outlandish antics and tweets, KD was at it again a few days earlier. Actually, this is just yesterday. Why he goes on and talks and exchanges with people on X, like, it's beyond me. Like, I don't understand why he does this. Like, at least as thin-skinned as LeBron James is, and you know, LeBron will, I guess, respond to public outcry or public sentiment or public consensus. LeBron will, in some way, some shape or form, do some, post about that or say something in his podcast, but he doesn't like engage people individually. Why Kevin Durant has been doing this for his career is beyond me. Like, this guy's one of, I don't know, the top 20 greatest players ever, top 15 to 20 greatest players ever. Why he perpetually engages individuals like on an ad hoc basis on social media, it's beyond me. But he was asked by somebody why Golden State fans hate him so much. Why do Warriors fans hate KD? LMAO, to which KD responded, them finals MVPs, they will never recover. To which I'm reading this, Gary, as like a blanketed shot at Steph Curry, essentially, like as if like the true diehard Golden State Warriors fans just are butthurt at me, Kevin Durant, because I won their golden boy, the baby-faced assassins. I took 2 finals MVPs away from him, and I was like really the best player on those teams. That's kind of the way I'm reading it. But again, like, it just doesn't look good, Gary, because KD, since leaving, again, I will reaffirm this point, has not won a single postseason game 3 times. He's been eliminated twice in the second round of the playoffs. And Steph Curry won a championship since KD left. And like, look, I'm of the opinion that first one, I talk often about that first one, that 2014-2015 title. I think that was one of the luckiest playoff runs in at least the last 3 decades. When you look at all of the players, all of the teams that were hurt, including KD, and KD was hurt for that playoff run. And I don't even know if the Thunder made the playoffs that season in the 2014-2015 year. There were suspicious things that were happening. The Clippers choked like a 3-1 lead away. I think they would have beat them. The Spurs would have beat them I think the Clippers beat the Spurs to clear the Spurs out of the way. Then the Clippers choked and lost a 3-1, blew a 3-1 lead. I think to the Rockets of all teams. I think James Harden, the choke artist that he was, I think he somehow beat the Clippers when he was down 3-1. So it was just an opportune, like, you couldn't get a better, more specifically laid out path for a young, unproven team in the Warriors that year. Then when they get into the NBA Finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers, as we all know, Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving missed the entire series. So if ever you could excuse LeBron James losing one series in his career, it would be that one where he lost both Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, and still the Warriors were down 2-1 in that series. So that was one of the luckiest runs I've ever seen for the Warriors to get that first one. Then they choke and blow that 3-1 lead as a 73-win team the next season. KD comes in. They're unbeatable at that point. But if you look at Curry, he did get that. I think that one he got in 2022 does a lot in validating Steph Curry and his overall legacy and whatever, and people that want to put him over KD. Like, I think like that does a lot for him there, because after KD left, he went on his own run. Sure, he still had Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, and they had Andrew Wiggins that year even, who I believe made an all-star team that year. But still, that's Andrew Wiggins, I'm pretty certain, his only career all-star game to this point. It's kind of an outlier year. Nonetheless, Curry goes as the guy, wins a championship, has a masterful finals that year against Boston, wins the finals MVP. So that's what Steph Curry was doing without KD. KD was hand-picking these destinations, selecting the places he wants to go, picking the players he wants to play with, and still has done practically nothing. So before and after Steph Curry and Golden State, he's played with a lot of great players. I mean, whatever you want to say about Russell Westbrook and his potential sabotaging tendencies in terms of playing winning basketball. Like, he's an all-time great player. James Harden's an all-time great player. You know, he wanted to go to Phoenix. He wanted to play with Devin Booker. Devin Booker, who right around the time KD decided to team up with him, Devin Booker was a first-team All-NBA selection. So, like, that one of those years when KD decided to go make the move and play with Booker and team up, Booker was a top 5 player in the NBA. So, like, and then they bring in Beal, likely at the behest of Durant, at least the sign-off of Durant. And, you know, they get swept by the Timberwolves in the first round last year. And then they don't even make the playoffs this year. Like, it's just a bad look, in my estimation, as someone who's not a huge Steph Curry fan, like, for KD to be taking these kind of like swipes at Curry. Now, I don't know. Bad look in my estimation, Gary. I don't know if you have any
I
thoughts
think it was
on
the
that.
franchise he was taking a hit on. I see your point, but I don't think he was intending for it to necessarily be Curry. But I probably more like Bob Myers, who was he's the GM at the time, right? That little joke at the victory parade when do you remember that little jab? I think it was Bob Myers or somebody on Golden State made a joke about it being Steph's team and not his team or something or other. And you could tell like that was kind of like when Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless went at it and Skip yelled for Shannon to put his glasses back on. It was at that moment right there, you knew there was a huge crack in the ship, and this ship is about to sink sooner or later. I just don't think KD appreciated that little quote unquote joke. And I think that's what he was probably intended to, the people who thought like that person who made that jab.
Now, Gary, there is one more KD tweet. It's not necessarily a bad tweet, or it's not something I want to attack KD about. I actually agree with KD on the next tweet, but it's probably going to open up a larger conversation about him, just scores in the NBA, which I've been kind of wanting to talk about. And he obviously wants to talk about as well. But let's just stay on top for a change. Let's just stay on top of these super chats. We only have a couple lined up, so just slide a couple in here now, and then I'm going to go back and address the other. I want to get into the other thing that KD said. But let's first slide in these couple super chats we have lined up just to stay on top of them. And guys, many thanks as always for joining us here in the Skap Lounge. And again, yet another special day and time. Gary, go ahead with this first one from Bands Nabs. I always screw this one up. Bands Nabs 5523, a regular. Thank you, Bands Nabs. Welcome back in to the lounge. Gary, go ahead with this first question or comment.
LeBron taking up golf like Jordan. Nothing original.
Yeah, I guess he was, for anybody that didn't know, Luka, I guess the Luka thing happened after. Yeah, I haven't been on live since I guess the Luka signing, which Luka signed a big new extension. I want to, off the top of my head, I'm going to say 3 years, 160-ish million, which is, whatever, 55 million a year. It sets him up, though. The third year is a player option, which he will likely not pick up into the third year. So the summer after his second year is completed, that would be like 2020, the summer of 2028, he will be eligible to sign like a 5-year, $470 million extension. So like $85 million annually, just around 85 mil. So a huge moment for Luka in signing that deal. Huge moment for the Lakers. And accordingly, everybody was there. You had literally like 8 or 9 players showed up. They all took pictures with Luka. Like at the end of the thing, at the end of the announcement, which was Rob Pelinka and Luka in chairs on a stage together. At the end of that, there were the photos. They brought Luka the jersey. He and Pelinka posed with the jersey. Then, like the 8 or 9 players that were on hand to celebrate Luka showed up on stage, and they all took a team picture as well with Luka. JJ was even there. Noticeably absent on that day was LeBron James, and also son Bronny, who of course is on the Lakers roster, as we all know. They were golfing together on that day. And you know what? If you're on whatever, if you're doing some family thing or some family vacation, this is the thing I'm talking about with LeBron and his passive aggressive BS that he does and the things that he does on, speaking of Durant, the things that LeBron does to send messages on social media, not specifically targeted at individuals necessarily, but he knows what he's doing. On Luka's big day and the Lakers' big moment in announcing him, and all of these other players showing up there, including LeBron's former podcast co-host, head coach JJ Redick, LeBron posted a tweet of him and son Bronny golfing. Like if you're there, if you're on vacation or whatever, and you're having a family moment with Bronny and you can't make it, you don't want to go, whatever. You don't have to post a picture to your several million followers on your Instagram account of you golfing instead of being there. Like it obviously sends a divisive, seedy little message of disharmony within the organization. And it becomes a story in and of itself. But this is the stuff. LeBron has been making a career of doing this. The thing that has changed here is Luka's the main guy now, not LeBron. But yeah, I'm with you, Bands Nabs. I didn't like the whole way that thing went down, the Luka contract extension. LeBron not being there in and of itself kind of sent a message, but the fact that he publicized that it was because he was golfing with another Laker teammate, which happens to be his son on the same day, just more inexcusable antics by the Fraud King. Next in, we've got Xavier DeGod early to the show this time. Welcome in, Xavier. The first half of the show here, not even 30 minutes in at the 26-minute mark. What's this? What's this one say, Gary? Of course, as Xavier typically does, he has a few lined up here, but go ahead with his first one.
KD is a loser. Without the Warriors, he can't lead.
Well, Gary, we know how you feel about that. I think KD, and we'll get into KD more, like the product of him on the court. He's as talented as any player that's ever existed. He's right up there with the all-time great scorers, I think, in NBA history. But like whatever criticisms you want to make about him in terms of like his leadership or his ability to win championships, like I feel like it's fair at this point. We'll see what he delivers this year. I think he's probably going to play at least 2 years with Houston. I think a good portion of his legacy is on the line. I think, and maybe it's unfair because he's about to turn 37 to put this amount of pressure on a 37-year-old. But I think a large portion of his legacy is riding on exactly what he does here. Can he deliver with a very talented but a very young and inexperienced team, which just lost in the first round? They might have been the 2 seed in the West last year, but they lost in the first round. Can he get them over the hump? Can he navigate a very difficult Western Conference? Can he win a championship without the Warriors and without Steph Curry? Because he hasn't. And like I said, there are a myriad of excuses. We can say like Russell Westbrook wasn't playing winning basketball, that his style thematically was clashing with KD, that he was a programmatic non-fit with Kevin Durant's style, if you will. You could say they might have got one in Brooklyn had James Harden and Kyrie Irving not been dealing with injuries the year that the Bucks and Giannis won. You could say he was injured some in Phoenix, that Beal was injured some in Phoenix, that Booker was injured some in Phoenix. Like you can make all the excuses you want, but like at the end of the day, like the bottom line is here, Kevin Durant has played 17 years in the NBA, and he's played with a plethora of elite all-time caliber players. And he has only won the 2 championships when he was playing with Golden State and Steph Curry. And while KD might have been the best player on those teams, and while he might have won the NBA Finals MVPs, you can still make a case that Steph Curry was the most important player on those teams, and that Steph Curry was the one that was that he was the straw, if you will, that was stirring that drink there in Golden State. So look, and I defend Kobe Bryant all the time, and I make a lot of bold assertions and statements about him, but Kobe showed that he can do it without Shaq. Like a lot of the stuff that I say about Kobe and a lot of the things that I believe about Kobe are true because he showed me, he proved it to me that not only could he get rid of Shaq, he could take a huge downgrade to Shaq. Like, no offense to Pau Gasol, but he ain't Shaq. Like, Shaq is one of the top Some will say 10 all-time great players. I myself have him more like 13 to 15 range, maybe 12 to 15 range. But he's somewhere in the top 15 all time. Pau Gasol ain't top 75. So Kobe traded, essentially exchanged those two in and went to 3 consecutive finals and 1 back-to-back. So Kobe showed it, like can KD. Like even to some lesser extent, Curry showed it because he got rid of KD and won without. Now, Curry still had a pretty stacked looking roster otherwise. But can KD show it? He hasn't otherwise. So I think there's a lot riding on this tenure for him with the Rockets this year and then into next year. If I think he will play 2 years, but we'll see, how things go this season and see how his health looks into next year. We've got Xavier for a three-peat. We have Xavier back to back here. Gary, what's the second one from Xavier say?
Why do you think KD joined the Warriors and not the Cavs?
Well, I think, first of all, I don't know. I'd have to look at the contractually. I'd have to look at the structure of things. I don't think they probably could have made that work. I don't think the Cavaliers could have made that work with bringing on. They were probably either paying or about to pay Kyrie Irving. They were paying Kevin Love. They were paying LeBron James. They had just won a championship. I think KD thought the optics were a little different because the Warriors lost the championship. So he miscalculated this and misread it. But I think he probably thought like, oh, the Warriors needed some other piece to get over the hump, even though they had just won a championship the year before, even though they had just won 73 games that year. They did at least lose the championship. So I think KD thought to himself, well, look, the Cavaliers won the title. Now I could help put the Warriors over the hump and get them to a championship. Obviously, he misread that, misread the room. Also, the Warriors wanted KD. Like the Warriors put on a full court press on him. They flew, if you remember, Steph Curry, Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and I don't know who, maybe KD is referred to as the fifth, or maybe they're referring to Bob Myers or Steve Kerr, but they call themselves like the Hampton Five, which because the four existing like big names on that team, Iguodala, Curry, Draymond, and Klay, and I think Bob Myers and Steve Kerr boarded a plane in San Francisco, flew across the country to New York to the Hamptons to essentially put the recruitment press on KD. KD that summer, the summer following the finals, the 2015-16 finals where the Cavaliers won in 7 over the Warriors, I had rented a house in the Hamptons, and he was hosting teams to come in and deliver their pitches as to why he should go to that team. And the Warriors went and put on a hell of a pitch to them, and they call themselves the Hampton Five because I guess maybe they're including KD in the Hampton Five as one of the fifth. So my point is the Warriors, they wanted him. Like LeBron James wasn't sitting there after LeBron James in the aftermath of that finals was sitting on a couch surrounded by Maverick Carter and others, including, of course, the Clutch Syndicate, saying that one right there made me the GOAT. LeBron wasn't sitting back that summer and saying, how could I convince KD to come on this team too and make this look like an even bigger super team so people make fun of me even more? So I think, to answer your question, Xavier, I think KD wanted to join someone that didn't win, and the Warriors didn't win, but they were really close, and they really wanted KD. So it was just like a marriage more of convenience. I don't think he ever even really considered the Cavaliers. They certainly weren't considering him. Next in the third straight from Xavier DeGod, what does Xavier have for us in this third super chat? And Xavier, once again, thank you very much. Go ahead, Gary.
KD is a coach killer. Russ was the leader of OKC.
Well, I think Gary, I see Gary, you guys can't see him, but I see he's got his head in his hand here. He's very frustrated. He's turning red here. I could see he's very unhappy with this third statement by Xavier. I do have to agree with Gary in the sense that I don't think Russ is not a very coachable player. I don't think He responds well to criticisms. I don't think he really likes taking the ball out of his hand. He's done it in recent years, but that's because he's older now. When he was younger, I think he very much wanted the ball in his hand. He wanted to be making the decisions. And when you have a player like KD on your team, look, you should really kind of be more, I think you should defer more to KD. And you could turn this conversation around on me and say, like, well, what about Shaq and Kobe? Because Shaq was the more efficient player in those early 2000s teams, and Kobe was always defying Phil Jackson in some degree and trying to get the ball in his hands more. But I think Kobe was, firstly, he was more structured within the triangle, and he was more willing to sacrifice his own scoring and his own usage, way more so than I think young Russell Westbrook was. And secondly, like, Shaq needed the ball in specific areas. Kevin Durant could operate from anywhere. Like, you just get the ball to KD and he can do it himself. He can get his own shots. He can get other people's shots. Shaq essentially was reliant on Kobe Bryant to get him the ball to some degree, reliant in the structure of the triangle offense to get him the ball in the right places. And Shaq wasn't an efficient player in closing time. You really couldn't give it to him at all because they would just foul him, and he was a very ineffective free throw shooter. KD is as good as they come in the half court and in clutch times. So I would push back a bit on the fact that, like, Russ was the leader. I think maybe Russ, look, I like his heart, his determination, how hard he plays. I love all of those things. But I think he definitely can be a bit strong-willed and a little hard-headed in terms of listening, taking feedback, and playing within the structure of an offense. With that said, like, I don't think KD necessarily is a coach's dream. I think he is like a dream fit in. If you jump him in a structured place, though, like Golden State was, I think he can figure out how to fit perfectly, and he can mold his game in a way that, like, a lot of great players can't. Like, even LeBron James. LeBron James couldn't fit in any kind of a structure. Like, LeBron James probably wouldn't have fit with Golden State, really, because he needed the ball so much more. KD was playing off of the ball a lot, and he was just that efficient of a scorer, which we can get into KD more as a scorer later on, because there is one more tweet I want to highlight of his. But I'd say neither of them were necessarily great for the coaching staffs and the coaching, the tenure or the future of the people that were in place in Oklahoma City at the time. Steve Kerr and Steph Curry and Bob Myers, like, they already had a machine structured and built in Golden State. So I think KD just slipped in there seamlessly and fit perfectly. All right, we do have a couple more super chats building up now, but let's just do this. This last one was the one that was up when I said we were going to take a quick super chat pause. And then I do want to just get back to that other KD tweet real quick. And then we've got some other, super chats here that we'll get to as well right after that. But go ahead with the Incorruptible is in, Gary. Welcome into you, Incorruptible, a regular, always here on the show, always supporting us here in the sponsor area of the lounge. So we do appreciate that. Gary, what does the Incorruptible have for us today?
KD's championships have been the most pathetic, questionable in the last 25 years. I think a real debate would be LeBron's versus KD's rings worthiness.
Yeah, and I agree with that, honestly. Like, I know, Gary, that you you presented some good cases as to why he likely should have had the one in 2012. But in terms of the two that he does have, like, I really I don't value those rings at all. I don't value them for him. Now, the hypocrisy, I'll turn it over to you in a second, Gary. The hypocrisy of it to me is this. Like, I view those rings the same way as I view them for Steph Curry, and I view them the same way as I view all four of LeBron James's rings. So, like, I don't like or value them for any of those players, but I see a lot of people, and it's unfair to Kevin Durant. I see a lot of two timing of KD here, or a lot of hypocrisy in that people will celebrate LeBron's rings in some way or not disparage them. And then they, even more crazily, is they count all of Steph Curry's rings. Like, that Steph Curry has these 4 valid rings. And then for those same people that do that, then discredit Kevin Durant. Like, you gotta have, it's all or none. Like,
Right.
so I do it all in that I don't really like any of those rings for any of those players. But if you're gonna credit the other guys, then you've got to say KD has 2 legitimate viable rings. So that's just my take on it. Be consistent. But go ahead, Gary, if you want to add something.
I just wanted to follow up on the whole Westbrook stuff because, I know a lot of people in here are disagreeing with me. I don't think a lot of people in here remember Westbrook from 10 years ago because he's an afterthought right now because he's at the end of his career. This dude was a bona fide, notorious ball hog. That's what he was known for. And what's his nickname, Jay? Russell West what?
Brick. West Brick.
West Brick, because he can't shoot. He was playing and just Jay, can KD is the forte of his game is what? Does it happen to be shooting? So
and efficiency. Yeah.
So you've got this point guard. And what's a point guard's job? A point guard's job is to distribute the ball. You've got the best scorer in the game, and you're Russell Westbrook, and you're like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to take this, KD. I got this. Oh, you won 4 straight scoring titles, but Russell Westbrook here to the rescue. Game on the line. I'm going to chuck it up. So that's what I'm saying when I said he would sabotage games and make boneheaded decisions. I love his heart like you do as well. He's a dynamic player. So that in some people's mind, they forget that he makes boneheaded decisions in the clutch. And there was speculation for years before KD went to Golden State. Everyone was, not obviously not everyone, but lots of people were saying KD needs to get the hell away from Westbrook because Westbrook sabotages him all the time. And see, when Harden was there, Harden absorbed that. It was okay with Harden because they had enough depth. You always hear me say, it's not about the best players, it's about the right pieces. And the right pieces were constructed. But when you took Harden away, that was the beginning of the end because now no one is there to absorb the mistakes Westbrook made from that day forward. Plus, they had injuries back-to-back years, I think. I think Westbrook had a season-ending injury, and then the next season, KD had a season-ending injury, if I remember correctly. So even after Harden left, so that's why I don't think they ever – and then in 2016, they weren't better than Golden State overall. And we can stick a pin in that for the sake of time. But I'm just saying this is what
I will say this though, to that. I really do think the 2015-16 Warriors are one of the most overrated teams in NBA history. I really do. Like the 73 wins is just so outrageous to me when you look at the fact they were 73-9 in the regular season. And I'm pretty sure they were like 15-9 in the playoffs. They had as many losses in the postseason as they did in the whole regular season. So like I really do. Oklahoma City looks so good. So in the first 4 games, they look so confident, so fast, so much stronger, more athletic. They look just so much better. And Gary, I did not like Golden State that year. I was rooting full-heartedly for the Thunder that season. And I remember Game 6, it's seared into my memory. They were up, I think, 11 or 12 at home in Oklahoma City. And they could have closed out and won in 6, 4-2. And it was just a devastating fourth quarter. First of all, Klay Thompson went berserk and was knifing all these threes. But also in the fourth quarter, like KD was like 1 of 7 and Russ was like 1 of 6. So like the two of them combined in that fourth quarter were like 2 of 13 and they blew that. And then of course you knew they weren't going to win in the Oracle in Game 7. So like, I really do think like, okay, can I make a real valid case that Oklahoma City for the whole year and for the regular season and taking all that into context was better than the Warriors? Of course not. But like watching all 7 of those games, like I really do think Oklahoma City was better than them. And I think Oklahoma City would have beaten Cleveland that year in the finals pretty easily, I think. But that's look, it's neither here nor there. It's all speculation by me. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. If ifs and buts were whatever and nuts, we'd all whatever. Like, I don't know what the saying is, but what I'm saying is it didn't happen. But just watching that series, to me, the feel of it was Oklahoma City was better. But I can't really prove it.
The league, and I don't mean to go on this, but the league really did help Cleveland beat Golden State that year in 2016. They were toying. You remember how LeBron was ready to fight at the end of game? Was it the end of game 4 when the Warriors took that 3-1 lead, and how he jumped on Draymond's head, and then Draymond punched up and happened to hit his groin area, got suspended. Then Bogut goes down. If there had not been a Draymond suspension, because LeBron got in no trouble, both of them should have been suspended, or neither should have been suspended, because LeBron clearly was trying to draw a fight with Draymond, and it worked. And the official, and Adam Silver knew exactly what LeBron was doing. He let him get away with it. So that's to the point. I do think there's a chance OKC could have beat Cleveland, because Cleveland is overrated. But here's the reason Golden State went 73-9, and I think you'll agree with this. That's because at that point, Golden State was the only team chucking up 100 threes a game. That's what set the trend, and why everyone else was like, if we don't start shooting threes, no one's going to be able to keep pace with the Warriors. So then after that 2016 season is when more and more teams, and now we see how trendy it is now. Now we're getting everyone shooting 100 threes. But back before everyone was shooting 100 threes, the Warriors were shooting 100 threes, and it had 2 of the top 5 best three-pointers shooters of all time on the same team, which was really, really unfair and kind of humorous if you think about it. You've got Steph Curry, who the greatest shooter of all time, but then who's his backcourt mate? Another guy who also is in that same conversation for best just pure shooter of all time. And together, when they're both shooting up 100 threes a game, that's why they went 73-9 that year.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And it's kind of like, it reminds me, Gary, and we can maybe get into some football later on in the show, but it reminds me, I'm a big, as anybody here probably knows at this point, I'm a big football fan. Like, teams, like you can see teams that are made for the regular season in the NFL, but you kind of know they're not going to materialize in the playoffs. Like the high scoring, fast paced dome teams. Like, you just know when it gets into January, February, and you have to play outside in the elements and play against better defenses. Like, you just know those teams typically do not hold up in the playoffs. So like, that kind of was the way, looking back on that Warrior team now, it's like they were just made for the regular season. Like you said, like they were an anomaly at that point. Teams weren't ready for that. They weren't used to seeing it. Like, they didn't know how to prep for it. Like, when you saw them as like the third team out of, on a 5-game road trip where, like, okay, like they're just blistering you with threes. Like, it just is what it is. Like, they just run you off the court. But when it's slowed down, when it's a tighter, more half court kind of a game in the playoffs, and you see them night after night after night for like 2 weeks, and what you have the tape on them and stuff, like it's just different then. It just changes the dynamic of it. So I think there was a bit of that at play as well. But all right, let's real quick, put a pin on the super chats. We got a number more lined up here. We'll get right back, but I do just want to show this one thing and get into a quick conversation, because when I was looking at it, I was kind of surprised at the top 10 all-time scoring list right now. And the thing that made me look at it, which I know the top 5 pretty much, like I almost know the totals of the top 5, like how many points they've all scored. But like beyond that, like there's some flux going on. And the thing that made me look at it and really examine it, which, hang on one second, let me take it down and take this super chat down real quick. Okay. So the thing that made me really look at it was a few days ago, August 9th, 2 days ago, KD was again mixing it up with some just regular, I don't even know. I think this person actually at least has like 10,000 followers on X. So at least it's not like 200 or 300. But KD's just responding. His response was 30K points on low field goal attempts. I'm a coach's dream dime dropper. So responding directly to this handle, dime dropper. I mastered scoring at 24 years old, man. Give it a rest. I don't care about being the best scorer ever. You're diminishing my all-time greatness calling me that. So I got to thinking, KD's got 30,000 points. Like, I wonder who else has 30,000 points. So I went and looked it up. There's a lot more than there used to be. KD is, in fact, the 8th player now to go over the 30,000 point plateau. And looking at these, so he passed Shaq a while ago, actually. He will likely pass Wilt Chamberlain and probably Dirk Nowitzki this season. So he'll be up to 6th all-time, more than likely at season's end. But look at some of these other. Carmelo Anthony is the 10th leading scorer in NBA history. Did you have any idea about that? I sure didn't, as someone who loves stats and metrics and stuff. And then look at this other one lurking right beneath Carmelo, only about, less than 1,000 away. So little game James, guys. Jimbo Harden, the king of the buffet line, is going to pass Carmelo and probably Shaquille O'Neal this year as well. So James Harden will firmly be a fixture now in the top 10 all-time scoring. That kind of shocked me as well. I don't really know if I want to say anything specifically about this. I just kind of wanted to note that KD is precipitously, Gary, give me 1 second. He's going to definitely pass Wilt and Dirk. Now, he'll need at least one more year, but if he plays 2 years, which I think he will, I'm telling you this right now, Kevin Durant is going to surpass Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list and knock Jordan out of the top 5 all-time in just bulk points accumulated. If he plays 2 more years, and I think that he will, then after that, Kobe Bryant would be in his sights there. As you see, that will be tight. He is 3,072 points behind Kobe Bryant at this point. If you look at the amount of points he has averaged in the last 5 years that he's played in, there's been 6 seasons since his Achilles rupture. So since KD ruptured his Achilles, there's been 6 years that have passed. He missed 1 full year altogether. In the 5 full years that he's played, or 5 years that he's played some games, he is averaging 1,526 points per game. So if you add that up, it's 3,052 points. He's 3,072 points behind Kobe, but that's assuming that he plays enough games to get to that 1,526 in the next 2 years or more, and he's going to be age 37 and 38. So if he misses a little bit more or slows his scoring a little bit more, what I'm saying is it's likely he's going to have to play a 3rd year if he wants another 3rd season. So like play till his age 40 season. Just put the list up here one more time. If he wants to surpass Kobe. But we're at a point here, Gary, where we're going to be looking at Kevin Durant as the 4th or 5th all-time leading scorer in NBA history, likely. And we've talked about it in the past. We both kind of agree that KD is one of, I already think of KD as he's probably like the 4th or 5th best. He's in the conversation to me with to me, it's like Kobe, Jordan, Wilt, and then who's next? After those 3, KD is probably the name that most prominently comes to mind, but it looks like he's going to be he's going to have the placement on the all-time list, even despite missing pretty much having 2 years pretty much affected because of the Achilles in his prime, and not to mention sharing the court with a bunch of other high caliber scorers like we were just talking about in Russell Westbrook and Steph Curry, and Kyrie Irving for a little bit, and now the Rockets, which have a budding young duo that are going to be on the come up, that are going to be averaging probably 20-ish points a game too. So KD has shared the court with lots of other great scorers. He's had more injury concerns than others, and he's still going to be their top 4 or 5 all time in scoring. Did you? I saw you wanted to add something. Do you want to add something to all of that?
Just want to say how crazy it is that OKC had the 8th and the 11th all-time scorer on the same roster when they were 20 in the early 20s, and how dumb it was for OKC to trade Harden away for Kevin Martin. And when that happened, I remember First Take, the next episode, and Stephen A. Smith says, yeah, well, OKC, they still got KD and Westbrook, and yeah, now they got Kevin Martin. They're going to be just fine. What the hell are you talking about, Stephen A. Smith? They're not going to be just fine. It was the beginning of the end because they needed Harden to have that extra depth that was going to solidify a dynasty. They would have. One of the biggest what ifs? What if Harden had not been traded? That team, my Spurs probably would not have got that championship in 2014. I'll be honest. What would have happened with the Warriors going forward in 2015? I don't think the Warriors probably don't have a dynasty because I don't think they would have beat that OKC team with Harden.
Gary, I know you dislike Russ, but just for purposes of this conversation, let me put this up. This is from James Harden at 11th with 27,687. Russell Westbrook with 26,205. 26,205.
Shoot.
So Gary, but look at the people above him. He'll pass Havlicek this year easily. He'll pass Paul Pierce this year. He'll pass Tim Duncan this year, Dominique Wilkins, Oscar Robertson, and Hakeem Olajuwon. Like, easily, if he plays, which he still doesn't have a team, by the way.
Right.
Like, that stands to be mentioned here. But if he plays on a team, even though he's probably going to be a sixth man and only be scoring like 9 to 12 points per game, he will pass those players because even though he's only going to be playing 9 to 12 or scoring 9 to 12 points, he's likely to play 70 plus games.
Right.
So he will get at least up past Hakeem Olajuwon with an outside shot at maybe Moses Malone and Elvin Hayes. So he might get up to 12 in scoring this year. So you're going to have 20 players in the top 12 all-time scoring drafted by the same organization within the span of like 2 years.
And they had Ibaka, who was like defensive player of the year. And what's the other guy's name?
Serge Ibaka.
No. Serge Ibaka is who I'm talking about. But they had another Cephalosha, who's also a very good defender. And Nick Collison was a good defender. So they balanced the offense with some good defensive players as well. The what if? I can't believe what a boneheaded move they made in getting rid of Harden. But my Spurs, thank you for making that decision. But three of the top scorers of all time. Now imagine if Westbrook actually developed a shot, how much better he would be. He'd probably be somewhere right around where Harden is right now. Harden's at 11. Westbrook will probably be somewhere around 12 or 13.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes it's easier said than done. You could say the same thing. Look, I know LeBron James advocates and standboys would have me believe that LeBron did build a shot, but he's still, to me, a very streaky shooter. Yes, he has a higher than you would expect 3-point career average because that's all he basically is doing. Dunks and layups or 3-point shots. There's nothing in between. He shoots whatever, probably 7-8 3-pointers a game. He's a volume shooter from out there, but whatever. In terms of his interim, his mid-range game and his like the consistency in his jump shot, never really constructed that in my estimation. And then same deal with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I love Giannis. I talk very highly of him. I think the world of him, but his mid-range this year was way better and way higher than people would think. So maybe he's actually finally on the cusp of doing that now in like that he's in year 13, but he's one too that never really gained like consistency in that. So sometimes they can do it. Sometimes it's easier said than done, but let's hop back on over. We got some more super chats here now. Let's hop on over to Wolfsbane, another regular. Welcome to the party, pal. Thank you for being here. Gary, what does Wolfsbane have for us?
In my opinion, KD and LeBron have ruined so much of the NBA, from the All-Star game to ruining other players' careers. They broke a 50-year cycle of torch passing.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I think KD, look, I am hard on him a lot of the times, but like I can see, I think KD, quite frankly, was never touting himself as the GOAT. I don't think he really even wanted that conversation or to be considered in that conversation. I think KD is more of just like a follower. I think he was following trends that LeBron James set forth. I don't think KD never would have gone. He might have left Oklahoma City. I think, to Gary's point, I think that there was a rift between him and Russell Westbrook, and just maybe organizationally as well. So I think while KD very well might have left Oklahoma City after year 9, just like LeBron James left after year 7, I think it was, in Cleveland. And I don't begrudge LeBron for leaving, nor do I begrudge KD for wanting to leave Oklahoma City. But it's just the decisions that they made. It's the teams that they went to, the players that they teamed up with. But LeBron did it first. Like, LeBron went to a top 3 player in the planet in Dwayne Wade. And then he built another super team. I know people don't want to accept it or admit it. The Cavaliers team was an undeniable bona fide super team after LeBron left his super team in Miami. So KD was just sitting there wanting to leave Oklahoma City in year 9. After year 9, like, that's no small sample. Like, he was there longer than LeBron stayed in Cleveland. So, you know, KD wanted to change. He wanted to move on. He thought that he had plateaued there, that his championship, aspirations had maxed out. He wanted to go somewhere else. And he's sitting back and thinking like, well, where can I feasibly go? I can't really, if I go there, I can't really compete with the super team that LeBron James has already built the second super team now. Well, I mean, LeBron's done it twice now. Why can't I do it? But I think that all went in to the justifications that KD was making at the time. So that's why, like, I can give KD and Curry more of a pass, obviously, in my opinion, than LeBron, because LeBron started it. LeBron was the one that made it fashionable and trendy and acceptable. Like, there's a lot, to me, there's a lot of criticisms that should come along with making that kind of decision. For some reason, KD gets all of the criticisms. Like, Curry never gets criticized for recruiting. Curry never gets criticized for recruiting KD. And for some reason, LeBron, I mean, I criticize LeBron for this, but many people don't criticize LeBron for going to Dwayne Wade's team and teaming up and doing that and breaking the competitive balance of the league in the first place and essentially making it okay for KD to make that decision. So Wolfsbane, I see you working out here. Like, I wouldn't get as opinionated and push back as hard as Gary might, but I will give some moderate defense again to KD here, in the same way that I kind of defend the 2 rings for him, because everybody seems to be okay with the way LeBron won his 4 and the way Steph Curry won his 4. So why shouldn't we give KD that same pass, in my estimation? Go ahead, Gary.
And this is my question to Wolfsbane is, who did Kevin Durant ruin? Well, let's talk about LeBron. We can say he ruined Kevin Love, because to your point, you made a video about how good Kevin Love was until he went to Cleveland, and he's never been thought. He's an afterthought ever since he's been to Cleveland. I'd say LeBron ruined his all-star career. LeBron, I don't know about ruin, but he definitely diminished Chris Bosh. Chris
for sure.
Bosh was never. And who else? What other players has LeBron affected? But who has KD? What did he ruin? Bradley Beal? I think Bradley Beal may have ruined Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. But I mean, I don't see who did Kevin Durant ruin?
Yeah, I don't really see. Yeah, that's fair. I think KD, it's because KD can play so effectively without the ball. Like, look, Kevin Durant is a 7-foot shooting guard, and he has great handle. Like, he can play in the post, he can play outside. Like, it would behoove teams to play through KD, but he doesn't need the ball. Like, he can score 20 to 25 points per game by just lurking around the 3-point line, right? Like LeBron can't do that. LeBron has to usurp usage. He has to take over. He has to structure the entire offensive flow around him. So like other players, I mean, Chris Bosh, look at his post touches and the amount of, times he shot from the paint in when he was with Toronto in the first stage of his career versus what he became in Miami. Like Chris Bosh barely shot threes when he was in Toronto. He became essentially a spot up 3-point shooter in Miami because that's what he was relegated to. I don't know why Bosh signed up for that or why he was okay with it. I guess some of these players are complicit in ruining their own careers by wanting to team up with LeBron. So it's weird to me, but yeah, that's a fair point too, Gary. Like I don't see necessarily like KD like affecting other people's legacies in any way or ruining their games necessarily. But Wolfsbane, if you have some examples, like I'd love, like I'm obviously open to hearing them.
And we do agree that LeBron did indeed ruin people and the league.
For sure. Yeah.
Skap and I are in agreement on that.
Basically every player. Like basically LeBron, I'll give him this, is a good floor riser. He'll make bad players look mediocre, but he makes great players look mediocre too a lot of the time. So like he effectively does ruin people's careers. And then not only do you tarnish your own kind of legacy by, severely mitigating what you're doing statistically and stuff for LeBron, but then you get all of LeBron's stan boys, the jock sniffers and bootlickers who come out for probably decades after your career ends, still slandering the ever-loving hell out of you and talking trash on you and blaming you as the reason why LeBron didn't win more championships. So that's just another part of it. Next thing we've got Dylan. What's up, brah? Welcome in, Dylan from Miami, aka Model Body Fit. What does Dylan have for us right now, Gary? And thanks for being here as always, Dylan.
My guy Skap, KD really should let stuff go, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all prisoners to it in moments. Like, when you read something negative about yourself or you read people attacking you in some way, like your natural inclination is to just respond and take the bait. Like on a much lesser level, like I see negative commentary and stuff a lot of the time and I read a lot of comments. I read a lot of comments on my videos and within my channel. I think a lot more than other people do in my situation. I am in there a lot, like interacting and engaging. And even if I'm not, like I'm still reading a good amount of it. And I see, negative comments from time to time. And sometimes I take the bait. I think I'm getting better and better at just being like, okay, whatever. Like there's a lot of more positive comments and like more supportive people for my channel, my brand or whatnot, that I want to spend my energy and my time like talking with them more or interacting with them. And I'm just trying to gloss over them. That's just me. Like for Kevin Durant, who's one of the 15-ish greatest basketball players ever, like it should be a lot easier for him than me or other just people like that aren't, like extremely high, profile public figures like he is. Like, I don't understand why he just can't disengage. So I'm with you, Model Body Fit. Like I get it's easier said than done if you see it, but KD, just stop scrolling maybe. Like just post your own stuff or post your own whatever you want to say about yourself or whatever. And like just don't look at the comments or like don't look at what your mentions are or whatever. Go ahead, Gary.
I think Kevin Durant, as you know, I love Kevin Durant, but he can be annoying. But let me tell you something about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, from what I gather, from what I believe, is that he's actually very down to earth, and he is a huge fan of the game. So much that is why I think he goes back and forth with people, because just like it's like that barbershop debate. I think KD is the same way. And I think he would debate with anybody because he's down to earth. That's just the impression I have. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think that it comes across silly, maybe a little immature. He can be annoying from time to time. I agree with that. but I don't think it's because he's a bad guy or has any kind of malicious intent. Unlike someone like LeBron James, who I think is a raging narcissist. And I think he just merely sees everyone, including his own family, as pawns. Is Bronny James not a pawn to LeBron Sr.? Using him, well, I may not be the GOAT, but I'm going to be the only one to play with my son, even if it arrests his NBA potential development. I'm going to get him here. I'm going to force him here, even though he's not ready. He's going to be the butt of tons of jokes. He's going to be ridiculed. And then by the time I retire, he's going to be cut out of the league because he was rushed into it. So if there ever was NBA potential for Bronny James, it's been ruined by his narcissistic dad. Why? Because LeBron sees his son as a pawn. He sees everyone as a pawn. So I think that's evil. I think that is malicious. And I don't think Kevin Durant is anything like that. Kevin Durant's got flaws. He's immature and annoying at times. But I think the guy has a good heart at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I could agree with all that. And speaking of Bronny, I did just talk about this. I did a piece on Bronny and his outlook for year 2 and beyond in the NBA. That's up now. I did that on Friday, I think. So that's my most recent video. So if you didn't watch that video yet, head on over and check that out. Next up, we've got Michael Florida M8P in. Welcome in, Michael Florida. Thank you for being here and appreciate your contribution. Gary, go ahead and read this comment. I think this is the all big mouth team at this point in the NBA, according to Michael Florida.
Big mouth. 1 PG 8. 1 PG 8. Paul.
Yeah, I thought maybe Paul George. Does he wear number 8 now? He's always been number 13.
Yeah, I thought he was 13 because I remember the rating.
13 has been his number, but is he wearing number 8 these days? Trying to figure out what is.
Or is it somebody else? While you do that, I'll read the rest of the list. Number 2, Ant-Man. 3, KD. 4, Braun. 5, Embiid. Now, when you say big mouth, are you talking about loud talkers, or are you talking about they have a physically wide mouth? Because KD doesn't have a big mouth. Embiid doesn't really have a big mouth either, does he? I know Ant does. Ant is funny.
I mean, Embiid, yeah, he kind of his act is kind of growing thin. I think he's not as outspoken, but he does stick his big foot in his mouth a lot of times. Recently, last year, he was talking about how hard he's worked and how much he tries to be on the court and how much he's done for the city and how he's worked way too hard to take all the criticism he takes from them. And it was just a ridiculous press conference. He was cursing out media personnel. I think he got in the face of some female reporter that was in the locker room before that. So he has a bit of a growing history of antics and just a truculent nature with the media there. So yeah, I think and with how much time he does miss and the fact that he did play in the Olympics last year, I've made my feelings on that known before. And Gary, I can confirm this as well. Paul George is number 8 now with Philadelphia. So I was not aware of that. Actually, I just PG-13, like that's just that's like one of his nicknames. Right. So I just, and with the Clippers, I know he was 13. Obviously, he was 13 with Indiana. So, and with Oklahoma City for that matter. So news to me, it's got to be 13. Either someone had 13 already, or someone Philly has 13 retired would probably be a better guess to me. I think someone other. Look, we know Embiid's. I think it would have had to be a high profile player. Otherwise, they would have, given the number, ceded it over to Paul George. So I'm imagining that 13 is likely retired and he could not select that number. So PG-8 it is. And Ant, obviously, yes. Ant and Braun, yeah. I mean, Anthony Edwards, this is a bit of a make or break year, I think, for Anthony Edwards, too. It's time for this guy to make his first first team All NBA selection and at least play a competitive series in the Western Conference Finals. Like, they got swept 2 years ago. They lost in 5 last year. Like, at least take a team 6 or 7 in the West Finals, if not get to the NBA Finals. Like, the time is now. He's still young, but this is like his 5th year now. Like, I want to see a first team All NBA nod. Next in, we've got a regular Sully's Tech Hub, a regular to the lounge. And Gary, before you read this one from Sully, I just want to say that Sully and I offline, we're talking a couple, I guess, probably months ago now at this point. I'll need to find the communications between he and I and reactivate the discussions. He was piggybacking off of Skap's Extra Strong Colognes handle, and Sully was suggesting a legitimate Skap fragrance line, which is crazy and maybe a little crazy like a fox, if you ask me. So I don't know, guys. Let me see in the comment section. Would you be interested in a Skap fragrance line? Let me know. But Gary, in the meantime, let us hear from Sully's Tech Hub on this one. And thank you, Sully, as always, for your contribution. Gary, go ahead with this comment.
Analysts ignore gravity as value. You don't ignore this. Jokic and Curry can have a bad night, but they're still pulling so much attention and coverage that it enables the offense for everyone else.
Yeah, that's fair. It's kind of like a favorite of mine in the NFL, one of my favorite all-time athletes, Randy Moss, who like was just such a devastating weapon in his prime that like just his presence, his mere presence on the field, just opened everything up for so many other players, so that even if he wasn't catching a lot of passes or making plays, like, okay, but you had some guy jam him at the line. You had some guy like 10 yards over the top of that, and then a safety shading over to him and keeping an eye over the top. Like, basically, he's taking away 3 guys of an 11-man defense. Like, that's going to open up some pockets for other people. I think Sully is making a similar kind of a conversation here about Curry and Jokic, and it does bear it out. If you look at a metric I talk about often, the all-important on-off metrics, which is a measurement of it takes in every single second that a player is on the court for a year, for an entire regular season or an entire playoff run, and every single second they're off of the court. So what does your team do in the times per 100 possessions? So aggregating every single second you're on and off the court, averaging it out, and then putting it into a nice, simple to understand per 100 estimate, which there's essentially 100-ish possessions per an NBA game right now. I think it's like 103 right now. So essentially for an entire NBA game with that player or without, what does it look like? And Steph Curry has routinely been the best superstar of like the post 2011-ish era. That's including everybody, LeBron, KD, all those players. He has been the best until Nikola Jokic, who is even better and more insane and crazy looking in that on-off metric than Steph Curry. Like, Curry's elite years were like plus 16, plus 17-ish. Now Jokic is like plus 19, plus 20. So I get what Sully's saying. The team, even if the stats like don't necessarily, they're not mind bending, like they're still opening so much up for the team. They're still impacting the game in such a significant way that those players do have a lot of gravity. So that's a good point, Sully. And I think maybe you were onto something. The Skap fragrance might be a good point too. We'll have to re-engage on that. We'll have to reignite the fragrance conversation offline. We've got Xavier back in now. Oh boy, Xavier's got a question that I don't even want to think about. Go ahead, Gary.
Skap, would you take a bet involving shaving your head? No, we could be brothers, man.
Xavier, you don't have to send another super to answer this. Just go ahead and answer it in the main chat here. Define shaving. Is it like I buzz my head to like, I don't know, like a 2 trimmer or maybe a 1 trimmer? or is it like I have to shave my head to the skin with like a Bic razor? Is that what we're talking about, Xavier? Bald. Yes, I see him saying in the comments confirming bald. Go ahead, Gary.
You don't need a Bic razor. You just need a nice head shaver like I have. That's what I use. So no, you don't. You would use clippers to get the bulk of it down, and then you would use a nice clean head shaver to polish it off. And by the way, you were saying a minute ago that I'm red. I wasn't red because of the comment. I'm actually sunburnt, and it's all over my scalp, so you can see.
Just one more thing I would have to take into consideration if I did that. I could say my wife was like looking at me through the door, like giving me an adamant shaking of the head as in no. I myself, the least I've gone, the least hair I've ever had, I've gone to like one or two clipper, like when I was much younger, like when I was in high school, I think I went to like a one trimmer. So it was like practically nothing. And then in my later years, like in my early 30s, like I used to trim it to like, I would do like a 3 on the side, 3 or 4 on the side, like a 4 or 5 on top, which was like very short for me in my estimation. So I don't know, Xavier. I don't think so. This would have to be a bet. I was very confident in my abilities to win. I don't know that I would be willing to accept it where it's based on some other party or play. Like if I'm betting it on like some NBA team, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'd be willing to give that much, take that much risk on something of which I really have no control in. So the answer I think would probably, I'd be leaning no, Xavier, on that. Go ahead, Gary.
LeBron James and the Lakers win a championship this year unless you shave your head. Do you shave your head?
I would do that for sure. Okay. If me shaving my head would have the power to stop a LeBron championship run this year, that I would do for sure. Okay. We've got from the mind of ZCC, and next from the mind of ZCC. Many thanks for your generous donation here in the sponsor lounge area of the Skap Live. I do appreciate you very much. Gary, what is the question or comment here from the mind of ZCZ?
Just another point to add to the many. The biggest red herring for me when it comes to LeBron's fraudulence is him shamelessly lying about attending Kobe's memorial. I was there. He was not, and it was the topic of conversation that day.
Yeah, I did a couple of videos on that subject back when it happened from the mind of ZCC. Cool that you were there, and I'm jealous that you were there. Yes, he was, from what I understand, definitively not there. Just like he wasn't there for the Luka Doncic, the recent Luka Doncic, contract celebration or whatever announcement that they did. So I know, according to all sources, including you, that were there that day, LeBron wasn't. So the fact that he or his circle or his people are trying to claim that he was in some way, shape, or form there, like we didn't see, he just wasn't seen, or he was in the back, or he was whatever. I don't know exactly what the excuse is that's being floated, or what his circle is presuming that he was, where he was during that day or during that celebration for Kobe. But I know that according to anybody that I've heard of speak on the topic now, including yourself on the record, are pretty adamant that he was not there. So yes, just more fraudulent antics by the fraud king LeBron James. And it's, the thing that annoys me about it is that he's this fake Kobe Bryant supporter, this like fake Kobe Bryant fan in some way, or that he was affected in some palpable way with Kobe's passing. Look, I don't want to presume that he wasn't sad or hurt when Kobe passed away, but to try to repaint the narrative of their relationship in hindsight when Kobe was alive, it's disingenuous. I think the two of them did not like each other when they were playing. I think Kobe did not think very highly of LeBron. I think they were somewhat enemies, even when they played on the U.S. team together. Kobe always thought he was better than LeBron, which I think that Kobe was right in that assertion. I think that, look, we saw comments recently by LeBron, or by John Stockton, on LeBron James about how he didn't climb the mountain. He took a helicopter to it. I think Kobe Bryant shares in that sentiment, the same as many old school type players with that old school mentality of like earning things, playing the right way, winning the hard championships. I think Kobe had that mindset that LeBron had cheated himself, cheated the game in all the roster stacking and team hopping. And I, quite frankly, in an honest, private moment, I think Kobe would say that he was not happy when LeBron James joined in Los Angeles, that he didn't want LeBron James there. I think he was probably conflicted because Rob Pelinka had some engagement with the organization already at that point, and Kobe was a big Rob Pelinka guy. Pelinka was a longtime agent for Kobe Bryant. They were close family friends. Kobe was touting Rob Pelinka for that position. So I think maybe a part of Kobe was happy for Pelinka in the pool there. But aside from that, I think Kobe was pretty much disgusted when LeBron went to Los Angeles. And to see LeBron now kind of using Kobe after his death, or trying to align himself in revisionism as like a Kobe guy or whatever, like, it's just disingenuous, as I said. So go ahead, Gary.
Remember what I said just moments ago. Everyone is a pawn for LeBron. Kobe's a pawn as well. Everyone is a pawn to LeBron. That is how narcissists operate. And LeBron is one of the biggest narcissists in the existence of human history.
Those are all fair accusations, I think, or claims towards LeBron James, for sure. We've got next in Brian Runs Tampa. What's up? We've got a couple Florida specific handles here. We had one a couple up here. Michael, Florida. Gary is, of course, in Florida. I'm in Florida, and so is Brian. And Brian apparently runs Tampa. What's up, my fellow Floridian? Gary, what does Brian have to add for us here? Question or comment?
Do you pay Brian a toll when you go in certain areas?
Maybe. I might. I'm around Tampa.
He runs it. So, yeah. What impact do you think social media would have played for Kobe, and how he is revered if it would have been as prevalent 2002 through 12 when Kobe was the best in the world?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think probably people at that point in time that really maybe either didn't see Michael Jordan play or saw Jordan in the second iteration of his career, that second three-peat when he came back from that like year and a half hiatus after his father's untimely death, and a very small stint in minor league baseball. So like maybe if you just picked up at that point like me, or maybe you were a little bit too young to remember any of that, I think probably at that point there would have been a massive Kobe Bryant is the GOAT push all over social media, just like the LeBron James push. Now, the key difference, though, and this is a big difference in my estimation, is that Kobe was not pushing that conversation himself. So Kobe, like we see LeBron calling himself the GOAT in every opportunity that he gets, tattooing chosen one on himself, calling him the king, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Kobe Bryant always gave deference to the people that preceded him, especially Michael Jordan. And another distinction here is that Michael Jordan really respects Kobe Bryant. He respected Kobe Bryant at the time that Kobe was playing. He formed a close bond with him even, and they really had a brother-like relationship afterwards, I think. So that's the stark difference there. So while I think the social media users and people that didn't see inherently weren't exposed to the previous eras that, just like the younger LeBron fans are today, would have been pressing Kobe more as the GOAT then, I think Kobe wouldn't have been involved in doing that. And I think Jordan probably would have been like, yeah, like Kobe is the only guy that should be compared to me. Like Kobe is the only one that might be able to hang with me. His game is so similar to mine. He basically modeled his game off of me. And Jordan basically, helped kind of mentored Kobe too. So I think that would have been the big difference in terms of like how that would have been received. I don't think it would have been as divisive as social media and the push and the movement is for LeBron James now, because LeBron James is seemingly trying to hijack and steal something that I don't think he deserved, and that even Michael Jordan, I think, doesn't think he belongs in that conversation. Whereas, if you are and I'm just speaking from personal experience here, if you were a Jordan guy, the most natural progression was to become a Kobe guy. I was a big Jordan guy when I was very young, and then I became a Kobe disciple as soon as he entered the NBA, and I just loved Kobe and Jordan. So for whatever reason, just think on it like this. It is almost impossible. I'm not saying it never happens, but when someone comes to me and says, yo, I just respect and appreciate greatness, I love Kobe and I love LeBron, I'm calling you a liar by and large. Like, I'm not saying it's unequivocally, it's never happened ever, but more like 999 times out of 1,000, if you love or are a big proponent of one of those two guys, you do not like the other guy. You are not a Kobe and a LeBron guy, or you are not a LeBron guy and also a Kobe. It's just not. You're not. But Kobe and Jordan, for whatever reason, are synonymous. They seem to go hand in hand. If you loved Jordan, you fell in love with Kobe pretty much, because they are so similar, because they have and it's not just the game's play and the pattern. It's the mindset. It's the tenacity, the desire to win, the competitiveness. Like, that's all wrapped into it. They're similar. They're cut from the same cloth in a way LeBron never was. And frankly, that's the reason LeBron never could get up to that conversation. So great question, Brian. Go ahead. Gary wants to add something. Go ahead and chime in, Gary. You're muted, Gary.
You know what Kobe is known for is modeling his game after Jordan. Now, any originator is going to be really annoyed with someone who basically imitates, or you may even say steals my game or my moves or whatever. But the fact that Jordan loved Kobe Bryant is a testament to Kobe's greatness, because most of the time an originator is going to be offended. But in this case, because like you said, he had the same mindset. This is not PR. This is not Jordan politicking when he says nice things about Kobe. It is from the bottom of his heart. That dude loved Kobe. So for the originator to love, not just like, but I mean admire someone who basically modeled their game after yours, that speaks volumes for Kobe's greatness.
And the thing about their relation, Jordan and Kobe's relationship, like, LeBron speaks this shit from afar because he's a coward and a scumbag, and he just calls himself the GOAT and tries to like discredit other eras and other great players. Like, Kobe never did that. Kobe, though, went to Jordan all the time and said, like, I would have busted your ass one-on-one. Kobe wasn't saying that, like over social media or in press conference or whatever. Like, he was going to Michael Jordan directly and talking this shit on Jordan. And that was the dynamic and like the love and the respect that they had built up. Like, so, Kobe believed that and thought that, but like, he wasn't discrediting or slandering Jordan like LeBron does to all these other greats.
And real quick, before we get to the next one, and that is what Kyrie did when he came in the league. He did that to Kobe. He was like, I'm going to bust your ass. And Kobe's like, boy, what are you talking about? They're talking trash to each other. And that's how they became such close friends, because you have fun. You compete with guys. You look them in the eye. You talk trash. That's the way basketball's always been until LeBron James comes around and now wants to set the trend to team hop, to make friends with your enemies. Don't talk trash and try to beat them. No, instead, I'm going to join you, or I'm going to passively, aggressively talk trash about you over social media, to your point.
Exactly. Okay, next, but great point, Brian. And thank you for running Tampa as well. I'm like I said, I'm kind of in the outskirts of Tampa, so I'll pay you proper homage if I have to or whatever. Next in, we've got the Incorruptible is back in. Who the Incorruptible I know because he's a regular and he's on all the time and he's making comments frequently. I know he's a big KD guy, so. This is actually like a pretty decent debate, I think. But go ahead and read this one from the Incorruptible, Gary.
You mean KG guy, right? You said KD.
I'm sorry, KG. Yeah, he's a big Garnett. Yeah, he's a big Kevin Garnett guy.
He's a big K guy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Incorruptible. This is actually an interesting topic to dissect deeper at a different time because I can see your point, but I can also see the other side. But all three are great. So sum it up with that. But I don't believe KD is above KG and Dirk all time due to the mindset, hopping, tweeting, etc. His offense is arguably top 5, but not his overall status.
Yeah, it's tough because both of those guys did not have like KG and Dirk, I think. Like they just did not have a lot of supporting cast. Like Garnett specifically had trash around him in Minnesota, and he stayed there for like 11 or 12 years. He was like 32 or something, I think 31 maybe when he got out, and he came in the league. Remember, he was like 18 when he came in. He was straight out of high school, number 1 overall pick in '95. But then Dirk, like he never left at all. Like KG eventually got out. Because he just was never going to win in Minnesota with what they were putting around him. Dirk never left at all, and Dirk never really had a whole lot of great players around him. Like Dirk played with Steve Nash at a young stage of their careers, but after that, like who are the great players Dirk Nowitzki played around? Like he played with like a couple fringe all-stars, serviceable all-stars, 6-man candidates, but like other than like the championship he won, he had like Jason Terry was the next best player. Like he had an older the Matrix. What Sean Marion, he had an older Sean Marion on the team.
Jason Kidd, older Jason Kidd.
Way older Jason Kidd. And then I'm drawing a blank on the center. Tyson Chandler anchored their defense. Right. I mean, that was just like a supporting cast lane team. Like Dirk never for like nearly 20 years, like barely ever had a great player around him. And like both look, KG and Dirk, like they only won one, but like, and I'm not gonna praise Kevin Garnett for the one that he did win. Like that was they should have won that one. Like to me, quite frankly, they should have won more. That Boston team should have at least 2, but still, KG was such an elite 2-way player. I mean, he's one of the probably 5 or 6 best 2-way players ever. And then Dirk Nowitzki, hell of a player, I think. Hell of an offensive weapon in his own right, Dirk Nowitzki was. And won one of the best championships ever, the best rings ever. And he did get to 2, like, albeit they fell apart. They were the favored team in that first one they played against Miami. They were favored in that series. They were up 2-0, and then they fell apart and they won. You know, they lost 4-2 in that. But still, he got them to 2 with not a lot around him, and he won 1, which was like all-time magical. This is a good conversation, honestly. This is like its own kind of live stream in and of itself. I think these 3 players you can kind of say are all pretty closely bunched in with each other. Like all like from like somewhere between like 10, 11 through like 16, 17. I think these 3 players live in there. So like I mean, they're all very, very closely kind of stacked upon each other in my estimation, like you said, Gary. But I understand the Incorruptible in his case for KG and what a full court player. I think KG had he won one without. And I'm not even going to say this. I fight against the premise that Boston was a super team simply because the 3 players were all over a decade in, all in their 30s. None of them were first team or second team All NBA the year before they teamed up, that Boston Big 3. But I still feel like the consensus is, look, those are 3 top 75 all-time players. They had Rajon Rondo, who is probably, when they release the top 100, will be like a candidate, I would think. So like it doesn't look good. Let me just put it that way. That's his only one. But like situationally, like again, he spent 11 or 12 years wasting away with the rot and the filth that Minnesota's front office put around him. So like it's tough to like say, well, like he only does have that one. But like the one that he does have, it's not Dirk's. You know, like if KG's one that he did have looked like Dirk's one, I think KG would be more discussed in like top 10 range than he is. So this is a good conversation, I think. Did you want to add anything else there, Gary?
No, this would be something I would have to unpack in more detail. It's just a good conversation comparing KD and KG. Obviously, KG is a much better defender than KD, and obviously KD's offense is better than KG's. But it would be an interesting comparison, but that would have to be for another day to go into more detail.
Next in, we've got Michael, Florida again. I mentioned him. He is plugging my Discord server. So thank you for that. I do appreciate that, Michael. Let me see if I could quickly get in here and get the intel on that for you. I am on Discord. I don't fully understand it yet. I'm hoping like probably when the season begins, I'll be doing more hopefully on that. Maybe I'll do some live things maybe on there. I know that's something that you can do. I'm posting it now in the links column. That's actually got my it's got the Discord community and also my X handle. I am on Twitter as well. Well, formerly Twitter, now X. I'm on there. I'm on like Michael indicated here. I am on Discord. I mix it up somewhat in there. I'm in the comments as much as I can, not as much as I would like, but hopefully I'm going to do more with that sometime soon. I've got about 250 some people in there, so join the Skap community over there in Discord. I appreciate the shout out, Michael. And the Incorruptible, meanwhile, is back in again. So Michael, Florida, plugging my Discord server for me in between two Incorruptible comments. Gary, go ahead with this most recent one. What's the question or comment this time?
OKC is good at drafting. Maybe KD is on to something since OKC squandered potentially 3 of the top 10 all-time scorers. I know it's more complicated, but how shameful. They're making up for it now.
Yeah, I mean, Gary and I talk about it. I think this is like they're one of the biggest hypotheticals in my estimation in NBA history. The Oklahoma City Thunder that were the trio of Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. Had the three of them stayed together for like, let's just say 10 years. Let's say the three, which look, Russ and Durant were together 9 years, but let's say they kept Harden, Westbrook, and Durant for at least 10 years. And I think they would have probably played beyond because they would have been so successful that there wouldn't have been, the desire for any of them to force, unless maybe one of them thought that they could do more, they could prove more, they could be more individually. Maybe they get into that. But look, let's just hypothetically say the core of that trio stay together for like a large chunk of their prime. I mean, I think they could have been the best dynasty since the Bulls in the 90s. Like, I mean, obviously hindsight is what it is, but seeing the 3 guys that had league MVP potential, they were all drafted within like a year or 2 of each other. It's just crazy. It's just bananas how good that front office was. So, but very cheap to the Incorruptible's point, I think. So maybe look, they're not cheap now. They've committed a lot of money to the core of this. They gave Williams his money. They gave Shea his money. They gave Chet his money. I mean, they're committed to just those 3 guys to the tune of about $500 million, like to just those 3 guys. So, I mean, they're not cheaping out now. So we'll see if they can keep this team together and build a dynasty now out of this team. Go ahead, Gary.
I honestly think, and I know this is a conversation for another day as well, but I seriously think that things behind the scenes, they forced OKC to trade Harden because they saw the writing on the wall. This team's the future. This team's going to stop LeBron. I honestly think it. And then Golden State rose up like a couple years later, but they did it naturally the same way OKC did. At that time, it's kind of hard to stop the ball. I just felt like that when they traded Harden, I was mind effed at the time because I didn't see it coming. It came out of nowhere. It was very abrupt, and it seemed forced. I'm like, why would you do this right when OKC is building up? And just a blast from the past. I'm putting a link on here in the chat. This is a video from 2012 I made. I put it on my sports channel. It's only got like 100 views. But this is from 2012, a video I made before the OKC Miami Heat series started. So this is 13 years old now. If you want to take a look after this live stream and just see, it's only 2.5 minutes, and it's just me talking about OKC is about to become the next dynasty and the best team since Jordan's Bulls. And that's what I full-heartedly believed at the time, and I still believe it now. I can't help but to think there was something going on behind the scenes because it made no sense. And by the way, props to Sam Presti, who also helped the Spurs, helped R.C. Buford, and the Spurs put Ginobili and Parker with Duncan, by the way. That's how good Sam Presti is.
So just to put a bow on this conversation, James Harden was traded on October 27th. Well, the news, I guess, came October 27th, 2012, which I don't know if that's right, but this is an ESPN report release. So I don't know, like, that did this happen like days before the season started? That's pretty crazy. I thought it was like a summer trade, but the article is dated October 27th, 2012, and it's unable to work out. The lead is unable to work out an extension with James Harden. The Oklahoma City Thunder traded the sixth man of the year to the Houston Rockets on Saturday night, breaking up the young core of the Western Conference champions. The Thunder acquired, this is the full construct of the trade. The Thunder acquired guards Kevin Martin and Jeremy Lamb, 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. In the surprising deal that was completed Saturday night, Oklahoma City also sent center Cole Aldridge and forwards Daquan Cook and Lazar Hayward to Houston. So not an insignificant pool. I mean, obviously Kevin Martin and Jeremy Lamb, not much, but 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. That's like a pretty substantial package. And it is. That deal was made in like late October. Like that is kind of a bombshell trade. And then the Thunder had offered Harden 55. This is also part of this article. The Thunder had offered Harden $55.5 million over 4 years, $4.5 million less than the max deal Harden coveted and will get from the Rockets. Sources told ESPN Magazine's Chris Broussard. So, like, well, oh, what a difference! Whatever 13 years can make. The max at that point for a guy coming off of his rookie deal was 4 years and $55.5 million. Chet Holmgren just signed what, like 4 years, like $180 million or something like that this summer. So that's now what the max construct looks like. But there you go. There you have it. That was 3 years all told was what Harden ended up spending in OKC. The very next year, so his first full year in Houston, he averaged 16.8 points per game in 2011-2012 when he won Sixth Man of the Year. He jumped right to 26 points per game, 25.9 to be precise. The next year, his first in Houston. So he added like a 9-10 point per game increase right off the bat in his first full season with the Rockets. And then, of course, he moved into he finished top 5 in MVP over the next. Then in his second full year with Houston, the 2013-14 season, and spanning 7 years in Houston. He finished top 5 in MVP in 6 of the 7 of those next seasons that would ensue, including like top 3 in 4 of the seasons. So like he became an immediate kind of superstar caliber player like the moment they traded him. So kind of a crazy, that whole thing was just crazy. Like maybe that should be like a Skap deep dive, that trade and like that whole situation. That just a crazy time for that franchise. And obviously what could have been, I think it became pretty obvious, like in the abrupt near future after they made that trade, that they had made a mistake and that like they should have kept that trio paired together in any way that they could have made it happen. So next thing, we've got Xavier DeGod is back in for like, I don't know, the 4th or 5th time. Xavier, welcome back in. Gary, what does Xavier have for us this time?
76ers retired 13 for Wilt. Also, remember, Paul George was 24.
True. George is also, I think George is a big Kobe guy, or fancies himself a big Kobe guy. He got in on the Kobe tarnishing tour of former Kobe guys this summer. I think he was talking some trash on Kobe on his podcast P thing, whatever the hell that is. But good luck, Xavier. Thank you for looking that up. Makes sense that Wilt Chamberlain's number is retired with the 76ers. So there you have it. Not a possibility for Paul George. And look, I don't want to speculate why he wears 8, but he wore 24 alternatively. He now is wearing 8 alternatively. As I said, he fancies himself a big Kobe guy. So other than his number, which was his number and intrinsically part of his nickname as PG-13, he's worn, the only other 2 numbers he's worn are 8 and 24, Kobe Bryant's 2 numbers. So maybe PG, lay off the Kobe slander if you're that big of a Kobe supporter, huh? Like stop the denigrating of him on your podcast P or whatever the hell that show is. We've got Dylan back in again. Dylan, what's up, brother? Thank you for coming back into the sponsor area of the lounge. Gary, what does this latest one from Dylan say?
I think Shaq is way more sensitive than KD and Bron. I would say more sensitive than actually KD can be sensitive. Bron's extremely sensitive. Shaq is sensitive, but I would say Bron is far more sensitive than Shaq.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, that you raise a good point, Dylan. Shaq is definitely in the mix. He's definitely in this conversation. But I still think I would crown LeBron. You know, LeBron loves to have the crown on his head. I think I would still put LeBron as like the leader in this category. I think, as I said earlier, KD takes the bait. He engages with like regular people, like with minimalistic type handles on these social media platforms, which LeBron never does. LeBron never really even takes the bait on people like like Kevin Garnett that say things about him, or like he doesn't take the bait on like bigger named people, let alone these kind of smaller named guys like KD does. But nonetheless, LeBron takes it as like a personal slight against him and his family if you don't think he's the GOAT. So I still think LeBron is probably like the most sensitive of all of them. If you pushed me on it, go ahead, Gary.
And at least Shaq will mix it up with you to your face. He doesn't have to cower behind social media. LeBron is passive aggressive. Who has LeBron ever like really mixed it up with face to face?
Yeah, pretty much nobody. He just slides on his podcast, Mind the Game, or he tweets or whatever, posts or does something on Instagram like that. It's always just those antics. Like he's not, so he hears all of it just like KD does. Like he hears it all the same and he responds to it all the same too, just in a different kind of a way. So yeah, I'm with you, Gary. But Shaq though still is, he does have the rabbit ears too, Dylan, to your point, and he definitely hears it, and he definitely responds and gives it back as well. We've got Xavier back in yet again. Thank you, Xavier, and go ahead, Gary, with this most recent one.
If LeBron goes to the Mavs, Jason Kidd can babysit again.
I don't see, it's not going to happen. I do not see a trade 100%. Like I reject the premise that they like that. They just can't make it work. So it's going to essentially, it's going to be a buyout. By the Lakers would have to buy LeBron out, and they would have to mutually agree upon something, LeBron and organization, and or he goes to Dallas in the offseason as a free agent and he can sign whatever. But look, at that point, they're paying AD, they're paying Kyrie. They still got obviously Cooper Flag on a nice, friendly rookie structured deal. But let me just see what the books look like, if I may. So next for the 2026-2027 year, which is what we're talking about, they actually they don't have that much. I mean, they still have 138 million committed. They're roughly 139 million. Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington come off the books at that point. And Cooper Flag, like I said, he's making a friendly 14 mil, team friendly 14 mil. You've got AD making 58 mil for the 2026-2027 league year. Klay Thompson making 17 mil. And actually, I'm not seeing Kyrie Irving's contract structure on this sheet. So forget everything I just said. Kyrie Irving's contract isn't even added on here. So once he signs that, or once it goes officially on the books, the Mavericks for the 2026-2027 league year, even with Gafford and Washington coming off the books, they're going to be at like 170 million ish. The salary cap right now is expected to nestle in. It might have already done so at around 155 million. So they're already going to be well over they're going to be in luxury cap range, or luxury tax range, I should say, abutting the first apron level already. So if LeBron were to come on, they would have like a mini mid-level exception or a veteran minimum maybe that they could activate. That's about it. So is LeBron, the king, LeBron, the guy who still is making $56 million or whatever, $53 million this year, is he going to take $3 million to play with the Dallas Mavericks next year? I don't see it, but maybe. But that's the only way. I don't look. LeBron's ego is too big in my estimation for him to ring chase at $3 million a year. But we'll see. Maybe he will. I hope they could clear some space for Bronny's contract too, though, because Bronny will have to be coming along for the ride, obviously, on that one. We've got Yvonne in next. Yvonne. I still am on the brink of this one. Yvonne. I think I've got it, though. Every time I see my Serbian brother here. Also, Marco, I saw from Serbia. Shout out to him if he's listening. I just uncovered an email that I missed somehow. So I'm going to respond to Marco's email too. But Yvonne, welcome in to the Party Pal. And congratulations on the Serbian tune-up games that are being played right now. Nikola Jokic looks absolutely dominant. They're going to be going for that Euro crown later in late August and early September, that like FIBA tourney. So, shout out to you and your Serbian squad and Nikola Jokic. And they're kind of considered the favorites now. So hopefully Nikola and company can get that job done and seal that deal in early September. But Gary, what's this one say from Yvonne?
KD will stay at 2 rings as a paid mercenary, which he was in Golden State. He would be like Dr. J and Drexler. Great players had their finals runs as alpha, but won their ring with all-time greats, Moses and Elijah won.
I can kind of see. I see the kind of the comps there. I think Dr. J is a little different in my book, just because Dr. J he wasn't really in the NBA in his like prime during the 70s. Like he was in the ABA and he was by far the best player in the ABA. And I think that's one of another good hypothetical what if that I think on often. Like, what if Dr. J just played his whole career in the NBA? I think he could be a fringe top 10 player, possibly. I still think of him as a top 10-ish player. He's in my top 15. Love the doctor, Julius Irving. And I think KD, to Yvonne's point, I think KD is above. I don't know if he's above Doc. I think I probably have Dr. J above KD, but I definitely think Drexler is pretty significantly beneath both of them, both Dr. J and KD. So I get what he's saying here. And that's why I said, I think a lot is tied to KD. There's a lot of importance that I think is going to be placed on what he does here in this next 2 years. I think that he's got with Houston, maybe a third year. We'll see. If KD can get a third ring and get it here in Houston, I think that does do a lot. I think it affects his legacy in a pretty impactful way. So, I'm going to be all eyes on this. I'm glad the NBA is really showcasing these games, these Rockets games. Like I said earlier at the top of the show here, like 2 hours ago when we kicked off, that I think KD and the Rockets are going to be a feature game on Christmas. They play the Lakers, I believe. So KD versus LeBron. Let me just go ahead and put that back up just to make sure. Yes, it is. It's Rockets Lakers. So that's probably the marquee Christmas game, I guess, at least the one that the NBA is going to show. And then the Rockets are a marquee game on the Open. It's going to be, again, KD at Oklahoma City, just to kind of come full circle on that. So I'm glad the NBA is doing their diligence here and showcasing, because I think the Rockets are going to be one of the more juicy storylines for the entire season. I think they're absolutely in the mix. To me, I'd probably make them the second odds-on favorite right now, just below Oklahoma City, just above the Denver Nuggets. So they're going to be a pivotal storyline all season long, and I think it's really is going to have a lot to do this year and next with KD's legacy and the way we look and remember KD to a large part. If he can get to that third title without Curry and without Golden State, I think that goes a long way in helping KD lift his way up and make his case as to why he's a top 10 player. We've got Jacob Melkonian, I believe. Jacob Melkonian. I'll try one more time. Hopefully I didn't slaughter that name for you. But Jacob, welcome in. I don't see a question or comment. Just thank you very much for your kind donation and sponsorship here in the lounge, Skap Live. We do appreciate you guys for your support and generosity here. So thank you, Jacob, for coming in and just giving us a little donation. I appreciate it. And finally, we've got the Incorruptible back in yet again. Again, a regular and a very generous sponsor and benefactor. The Incorruptible was again very prolific with his super chat today. So thank you. And what does the Incorruptible have this time for us?
Almost 7 weeks post-op. Going to shoot a little today. Remember, I checked out your live stream after my surgery. Appreciate your brand, brother. Keep it up. I'll be saying Kobe like the kids used to.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Incorruptible. Thank you for finding me and for coming on here and continually supporting me. And I hope 7 weeks, I hope that's going to be healing up and moving in the right direction. And hopefully that you get that shot recovered in no time, and you're pouring it in like the late great Black Mamba, and teaching the kids a little something out there in the process. I got a text actually from my wife, wanted to say that Jacob did have a comment or question, Jacob Melkonian. So she actually screenshot it and texted it to me. I'm not sure if I could find it real quick on here.
What's it about? I could probably find it.
To put this message, MJ and Kobe would have 38K. I see something else he posts. He's been posting a lot, actually. And there's a number of comments that he's made in the last couple minutes, but I'm not seeing the one. I'll just read the one specifically that he wanted to post here. It says, Forgot to put the message, LOL. MJ and Kobe would have 38,000 points or more if MJ didn't retire after each three-peat and Kobe's first 2 seasons had he played as a starter and no Achilles injury. For sure. 100%. Agree totally with that, Jacob. Kobe, I think, would have been the all-time leading scorer. Look, if Jordan wanted to play 15, 16, 17 years, he would have been. He would have been the all-time leading scorer, like straight years. But he didn't. And I don't think that was ever really important to Michael Jordan. Like, he didn't really care about that or chasing accolades or anything. I think he was primarily more so concerned just with winning and competing and with what he felt like he had to prove to himself and to other people. And I think Jordan just did what he had to do to prove to himself that he was what he thought he was. Like, he's never proclaimed himself the GOAT or said he was the greatest player of all time. We all know he thinks that he is, but unlike certain other people, he doesn't go out there and try to take shots at other people or other players or lift himself up over others. But I think in his mind, he did enough to prove to himself that he was the best player ever. And he didn't care about points or how many points he scored along the way. And I don't think it was ever in the cards for Michael Jordan to play 17 or 18 years. But with Kobe, I think Kobe would have played if he could have played at a high level. And I think he would have, if not for the Achilles injury. I think Kobe would have played 20 years at an extraordinarily high level. And to Jacob's point, Kobe did not score a lot in his first 2 seasons. And he did not really have the pure freedom and flexibility to be the focal point and score as much as he could for his first 8 seasons with Shaquille O'Neal. And then, of course, in year 17, he ruptured the Achilles, and that was a wrap. So basically, Kobe played like 15 full years. And then without Shaq, really, I mean, if you take those 8 out and then the 3 that he played after the Achilles rupture, he really only had like 6-7 years to showcase exactly what kind of a scorer he was with no impediments and at full strength from a health standpoint. I think had Kobe, like you said, if Kobe just stayed put in Charlotte and never moved, never got traded, just stayed put, didn't jump ship ever, I think Kobe would have won probably 3 or 4 league MVPs. He would probably be him and Jordan would have the 2 highest per game scoring averages in league history. And I think Kobe would be the all-time leading scorer still right now. Maybe LeBron would be getting close now, or maybe LeBron would have just passed him maybe. But yeah, I totally and full-heartedly could not agree more with your premise, Jacob. And thank you, Jacob, and thank you to my wife for getting me Jacob's comment there, because I'm glad that I was able to discuss that and mention that. And just, I know I already answered this one, but just wanted to give one more shout out to the Incorruptible and all of his generosity today and throughout previous shows. And also, brother, good luck with that injury and healing that thing up. Hopefully you're back to 100% shortly. And that brings us to the end of our super chats. Gary, I know it's always a fun show when we get to talk about your guy, KD. So thank you very much for taking the time and hopping on here with me to do what you do regularly, but also your input today on the KD piece was much appreciated. So thank you for that. And guys, if you are not, please make sure that you do head over to Gary. Gary, go ahead, just plug it. Give me the name of the channel.
Gary 828 Sports Talk. And
so make sure you hop on over there and watch some stuff on that channel for him and subscribe. If you aren't, I'm still in the midst of some decisions and so forth. I know I keep talking about it and teasing it. I made a video on it. There will be some changes coming down the pike. Most prominently, I would like to do more live streams, like just more regularity, like a specific show. I'm thinking 11:30 will be the time. 11:30 a.m. On the East Coast of the US of A will be the time frame that I'm shooting for. Probably the structure of it will be I'm looking to do about an hour, like 30 to 45 minutes at least, where I'm talking about whatever kind of trending sports topic might present itself for the day. And then at the back end, kind of like I do now, like of the show, I'll talk, kind of address questions, comments, do super chat things after the first like more of a structured 30 to 45 minute lead in an actual show where I'm discussing something for that whole length of time. And then I'll get into some question comments on the back end and probably exceed, an hour, but hopefully I'll keep it more to the 2 hour or 2.5 hour kind of a time frame, not maybe the 3.5 to 4 hour, which I tend to do on here from time to time. So, and I'm thinking 2 to 3 days a week. So 2 to 3 days a week on that. And then maybe some longer, more in-depth videos. So and then maybe the live stream stuff will take on more of a breaking news kind of a complexity to it. So I'll talk more about trending and breaking things in a live format or in a show. And I'll be doing more longer form stuff or investigative pieces as videos, but a little bit less of them. So probably maybe 2 to 3 live streams a week, maybe more depending on what kind of a news cycle we're in. And then 2 to 3 longer form videos. That's kind of, I think, the vision that I have moving forward. So just in my never ending push to stay, as open and transparent as I can with you guys, because I do appreciate all of you for being here and supporting me as usual. And if you are not, please do make sure that you are subscribed and click the notifications. Make sure you turn those notifications on. And my most recent video is that I mentioned it, I mentioned it earlier, the Bronny James video, which I put up on Friday. If you didn't see it, I'm talking about his year 2 outlook and beyond. So make sure you get on and check that out. I was just about to sign off here, but Praise the Dawn has slipped in here with another super chat. So I just wanted to go ahead and give him a shout out. Gary, go ahead and read this one for me.
Salute, Skap. You're keeping Kobe's name alive.
Thank you very much, Praise the Dawn. I appreciate you for the support and the shout out. That's again one of my primary mission statements. Is revolving, at least on this channel and this sports channel, and my part of my mission statement in life, essentially, as I've watched Kobe Bryant's entire career. Basically from the time he entered the NBA, he was born in 78. He's like 6 or 7 years older than me. So not that much older. I watched his entire career. I was there from the beginning. I was a huge fan from the moment he entered the NBA because I saw him play in high school. And, I know what my eyes did not lie to me. I know what I saw. The greatest player I've ever seen outside of Michael Jordan. And quite frankly, probably because I am a little too young to remember prime Michael Jordan. I think the second three-peat Michael Jordan wasn't quite prime. I think Kobe Bryant, I really do think he's the best player my eyes have ever seen. I recognize Michael Jordan as the greatest player of all time, though, because I realized what he was and what he accomplished in the first 8 years when I was really too young to watch or too young to remember or understand what I was seeing. But Kobe Bryant, probably still to this day, the best player my own eyes have ever seen. And I'm getting up there. I'm pretty old. And still Kobe's the best I've seen. So I just cannot take the slander, sitting back and lying down. I will forever, that I'm alive for every day that I draw breath. I will fight back against the Kobe slander and hatred, and I will try to keep propping him up and talking about him and painting him in the light to which I know that he was, which is arguably the greatest player that has ever existed. So thank you, Praise the Dawn. My pleasure as always. No need to thank me for that. Guys, thank you, as I was saying, for being here as always for me. I really do appreciate the ongoing support and kindness, generosity that you guys show me on a daily basis and when I do these lives. So as I was saying, please do make sure that the notifications are turned on, because I come on here at random times. Hopefully it will not be random much longer. As I was saying, hopefully I'll have more of a structured daily kind of a schedule that I will be sticking to moving forward, and when I'll be doing these live stream shows or live appearances. But until then, though, make sure that the notifications are turned on so you see when I come on or see random times of the day that I post videos. And I'm working on something right now. Actually, I'll just give it a little tease here, Gary. I know maybe not to go much longer, but maybe I'll let you say a quick word because you don't know. I'm working on it. I've decided I wanted to do a David Robinson piece. So I think the next video I put out, I've already written it and voiced it over. I'm working on editing it now. The next video I do will be on the Admiral, who is to me, again, like Hakeem Olajuwon in that same sort of era, one of the most underrated players in NBA history. I think the Admiral has situationally some really crappy luck. So I'm gonna kind of lay that out and talk about him in my next video. Anything you want to share about your own knowledge and because you're a Spurs fan, so anything you want to say about the Admiral David Robinson?
David Robinson was who got me into the Spurs his rookie year. The only teams I knew were the Lakers, Celtics, and Pistons. And I only watched basketball when I was a kid in the playoffs. And then one day, I don't know, I think I was like 13. And I was like, I got to find out, I got to watch some other teams. And I started flipping channels during the playoffs, and the Spurs and Blazers were playing. I believe it was the second round in Game 7. Rod Strickland was a Spurs point guard. They had Terry Cummings, Willie Anderson. David Robinson was a rookie. I don't know what it was. I instantly, after minutes, fell in love with that team. I've loved them ever since. They lost that game, by the way. That was the year that the Trailblazers went to the finals against the Pistons and lost when the Pistons repeated. The year before, Jordan's Bulls won their first. So I guess that would have been 1990. So that's when I fell in love with the Spurs. It was mostly because of David Robinson. I love the team chemistry. I don't know exactly what it was, but I will say this. I'll give a little bit of criticism to Robinson. In the biggest moments before Duncan, he just shrunk in some of the big moments. He's a great player. I love David Robinson. But if he had more of that Mamba in him in the clutch moments, he'd be on like Hakeem's level. Because he's not quite on Hakeem's level. He would be with Hakeem because Hakeem had that killer instinct. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the video.
It should be out. I'm pretty confident, barring some crazy breaking news thing that happens today. Pretty confident that video will be out tomorrow. So keep your eyes open for that. And again, guys, as always, please do subscribe and turn those notifications on. And that would be to stay up to date, as always, with more from me. Until next time, guys.